Okay, so today's topic is digestion. When you're talking about digestion, the first thing which came in our mind is nutrition, right? So nutrition is something, the substance which we are taking in response to getting the energy as well as the growth and the development of the body, right? So when we are talking about digestion, there are basically 5 steps. There are 5 processes in terms of we are talking about the nutrition. First is ingestion. Second one is the digestion. Third one is absorption. Fourth one is assimilation. Fifth is egestion. Now these 5 process is for the animal nutrition. When we are talking about the animal nutrition, that means you are intaking of the food take place, right? That is called ingestion, intake of food. This process is known as ingestion. After taking up the food, now the food is in the complex process, right? We have to simplify it. We have to digest it or break down it into the simpler form. This process is known as digestion, converting the complex food, complex organic food into the simpler one. Okay. Third process is absorption. As you all know that in the intestinal part, there are some structures which are for absorption. We'll talk it in the later part. So this absorption is basically when the simpler form, when the digestion take place and the simpler form formed. So the villi, the structures, they absorb the simpler form of the food. That process is known as absorption. After the absorbed part, after the absorbed food or part, the body will form the other complex structures like proteins. This process is known as assimilation. And the final process, that is egestion, which is the fecal matter, removing the waste, removing the fecal matter from the body is known as egestion, the undigested part, the undigested food. Okay, removing from the body is known as egestion. So let's begin with the chapter. This is the overview. Now when we are talking about the digestion, the digestive system comprises of mainly 2 things, right? One is the alimentary canal and another one is the glands, the digestive glands. Okay. Now, alimentary canal is basically the tube-like structure which is 9 meters long and it consists from mouth to anus. Okay, so these all are known as the alimentary canal, whereas digestive glands such as salivary gland, such as pancreas, because pancreas is a mixed gland, it shows both the property of exocrine as well as endocrine. Liver, gastric glands, intestinal glands. So all these are the digestive glands, right? Okay, let's start with mouth part. When we are talking about the mouth part, mouth is consisting of one, that is vestibule and the oral cavity. Oral cavity, or we can say buccal cavity, or we can say it's mouth cavity. Now, what is the meaning of cavity? Cavity is the space within the mouth. Okay, so in the mouth cavity or oral cavity or buccal cavity, there are various organs like tongue, teeth, glands also, salivary glands, tonsils also present, palate also present. So all these are present in the oral cavity.
Online course चल Online.
So please mute. Okay. So what is vestibule? Now vestibule is the space between the lips, or you can say the cheeks, lips or cheeks, and the gums. Okay, so there the space between the lips and the gums is known as vestibule. So there is a part vestibule in the mouth, and there is a cavity which is known as oral cavity, buccal cavity, or mouth cavity. Now in the oral cavity we have these parts. So starting with the tongue,
वो बेटा switch off है.
okay. Now as you can see in the picture, I hope it is visible to all of you, right? Now this is oral cavity, okay, inside the mouth. Now you can see there is teeth, which we will discuss right now only. This palate. Now this is palate. Okay, this is palate. Now palate is what? Palate is the roof of the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. When you touch your tongue to the roof of the mouth, you can feel the hardness. If you are touching it into the interior part, interior means front part, you can feel the hardness, and we call such palate as a hard palate. Whereas if you are going to touch your tongue to the back side, that is posterior part of the palate, you can feel the softness, and we called it soft palate. Okay, so palate is nothing but it is the roof of the buccal cavity. Along with this soft palate, there is a fleshy structure which is hanging part. We call it uvula. Okay, and there you can see this part. This is tonsils. We come to tonsil part also. Right now, you can see that there's palate, hard palate, and soft palate, and a flesh hanging like structure is there, which is known as uvula. Okay. Now, in the another diagram of this same oral cavity or mouth cavity, right? Just this is gingiva, that is gums, hard palate. This is more visible to you. Soft palate. Okay, tongue. So we can say that palate is roof of the buccal cavity, right? So we have divided the palate into the hard palate. Hard palate is present at the interior side of the mouth, buccal cavity, and the soft palate, which is present at the posterior part of the buccal cavity. Okay, and the soft palate, there is a fleshy hanging structure part which is known as uvula. Okay, now we come to next, that is tongue. Now as you all know that tongue is a freely movable. Yes.
Ma'am, is uvula the part of the soft palate?
Sorry?
Ma'am, is uvula a part of the soft palate?
It is the extended part of the soft palate.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So, tongue is a freely movable structure. Okay. It's a muscular one. It's a muscular organ. Now, we know that tongue has two functions. Can anyone tell me what is the function of tongue?
Mastication,
Very nice. Mastication and
taste detection,
taste detection and and that is speech. Okay. So tongue has three functions. One is the mastication, lubricating the food and mixing the food. Second one is tasting because it contains taste buds, and third one is speech. Right now we are not going to talk about the speech part. Okay, so we'll talk about these two things only. Okay. Now, as you know that tongue is attached to the buccal cavity through a foldy sir, please mute the students. So please mute everyone. Right. Okay. So when we are talking about the tongue, right? Now tongue is attached to the buccal cavity or oral cavity through the ventral part. This is known as lingual frenulum. Okay. So lingual frenulum is nothing but it is, sorry,
Ma'am, can you repeat once, ma'am?
I'm saying that tongue is attached to the buccal cavity, or you can say oral cavity, through a fold of skin which is known as lingual frenulum.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now I'll show you the diagram also. Just wait. Okay, in the diagram it is not visible. Now as you can see, when this tongue, this is the dorsal part. This part is the dorsal part of the tongue. Now the ventral is beneath it. So the ventral part of the tongue, when you see in the mirror that a skin is attached to the oral part, that skin, that fold skin is known as lingual frenulum. Okay. Now apart from this, on the surface of the tongue, there is papillaes. Papillaes are the projections, which is the outgrowth, you can say, which is present on the tongue. So as you can see in the diagram, these projections, can you see? These projections, right? These are present on the tongue, and it is present at the end part of the tongue also, this way. It is present here also. This is the smallest one. Here also present, as you can see in the diagram. So papillae is nothing but they are the projections. Papillae are the projections or the outgrowth which is present on the surface of the tongue. Now these projections or these papillae contain or consist of taste buds. As you know that taste buds provide taste, the sensation, that sour, that salt, the sweet, the bitter one. So all these states are basically provided by the taste buds, and taste buds are present on the papillae. So taste buds are present on these papillae, right? Now there are 4 types of papillae. Foliate papillae, second is circumvallate, or we can say vellate papillae. Third one is the filiform papillae. Fourth one is the fungiform papillae. Okay. Now from the diagram itself, it is very clearly visible that there, out of these 4, which is the largest papillae? From the diagram, can you see which of the following is the papillae is the largest one?
filiform,
Filiform is the largest one.
Foliate.
Late.
Anyone else?
Fungiform.
Sorry? Filiform. Bache, how could you say that filiform? I have just marked it like a dot. This is
Foliate. Circumvallate.
circumvallate. Very nice. Very good. Circumvallate papillae is the largest one. I have drawn such a big one. This is the largest one. Whereas when you're saying the filiform papillae, it is the smallest one. Okay. So filiform papillae is the smallest papillae, whereas circumvallate papillae is the largest papillae. Now let me tell you that in the circumvallate papillae, it is the largest and it contains taste buds. Whereas filiform papillae, it is the smallest. It is numerous in number. Numerous means many in number. Okay, smallest we are talking in terms of size. And there is no taste buds. That means in the filiform papillae, there is, I'll write it down on the green board. So there is tactile receptors, which is for the touch, but there is no taste buds, right? So filiform, it is present on the center of the tongue. Now this fungiform papillae, these papillae. Now these papillae are present at the tip of the tongue, as you can see in the figure. Plus, they again consist of taste buds, right? Now we come to the foliate one. Now these foliate papillae, they are degenerated in the early childhood itself. Okay, the foliate, it is present at the sideways of the tongue, and these are degenerated in the early childhood. So they again doesn't contain any taste buds. Okay, got it? Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So 4 types of papillae. I'll just write it down. First, what is papillae? Papillae are the projections, outgrowth on the tongue surface. Right. So what are the 4 types of papillae? Can you just recall it quickly?
Fungiform,
Very nice.
Filiform.
circumvallate, foliate.
Just hold on. Yes, fungiform papillae. Then next,
Filiform,
Filiform.
filiform papillae. Very nice.
Circumvallate.
Circumvallate,
foliate.
circumvallate papillae, and foliate.
Foliate.
Excellent. Very nice. Now, can you tell me which out of these 4, which is the largest one? Okay, circumvallate is also known as vallate. Simply, we can say vallate. Okay. Okay, out of the 4, which one is the largest one? Hurry up, quickly.
Circumvallate.
Right. It is the largest one. Good. Which is the smallest one?
Filiform,
Filiform.
Nice. Which is the numerous one?
filiform,
Good. Okay. Which doesn't contain taste buds?
filiform and foliate.
Very nice. No taste buds. Which is present? Sorry, filiform. So sorry. Okay. Which of the 2 contains taste buds?
Fungiform and circumvallate.
Okay. Taste buds present. Now in the circumvallate, there are 100 taste buds, around 100, and they are in the fungiform, there are 4 to 5 taste buds are present. Okay. In the foliate, degenerate. Then early child. Okay. In the early childhood. Right. Okay. Very nice. Okay. Now next we move towards teeth. Okay. Now what is the function of teeth?
Chewing.
Grinding, chewing, cutting, tearing, right? So all these are the function of teeth. Now when we are talking about the characteristics of teeth, human teeth. What are the characteristics of human teeth?
Thecodont.
Very
Dipyodont.
nice. Thecodont,
Diphyodont. And
Diphyodont, very nice, very nice. Third one,
Heterodonts.
Heterodont.
Heterodonts.
Excellent, excellent. Thecodont, Diphyodont, and Heterodont.
Heterodont.
Right. Now, thecodont. Thecodont means that teeth are embedded in
Socket of jaw.
gum sockets or jaw sockets. Okay. Now next is diphyodont. Now di means two, twice.
Milk teeth and adult teeth.
Excellent. Di means two. That means that teeth come twice through the lifespan. Milk teeth, which is the
Deciduous
temporary one, right? And there is one permanent one also. Permanent teeth.
permanent.
Okay. Now, when you're talking about the milk teeth are 20 in number. Okay. And the dental formula of milk teeth is
2102.
Right? 2102.
2102 by 2 by root. Whereas the dental formula of permanent teeth
2123.
2123 by 2123 by 2. Right. So they are total 32.
32.
Now my question is, can you just tell me how many monophyodont teeth are present? Just think. Okay, I just write down the question. Monophyodont. How many teeth are monophyodont? Anyone? At least give it a try.
12.
21.
12. Who? Yes.
12.
Very nice. Good. 12. Okay. As you know, we call diphyodont. Why we call diphyodont? Because teeth come twice in the lifespan. Monophyodont means the teeth which comes only once. As you know that milk teeth are only 20 in number. And permanent teeth are 32 in number. So, when we subtract it, only 12 teeth comes once in a lifespan. And that we call them monophyodont. Okay, got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, when we see the structure of a teeth, now this is the structure of a teeth. Okay. Now there are three parts of the teeth. First is the crown. Crown is the part which is present above the gum. Another one is the neck part, which is surrounding the gum part, and the root, which is embedded in the gum socket. Okay. So teeth consist of three regions: crown, neck, and root. Gingival is nothing but it is gum. Okay. So in the crown part, when we are talking about the crown part, there is two main substances, two main parts. One is the enamel, another one is the dentine. Enamel is the hardest substance. It is very important. Okay. Enamel is the hardest substance.
Substance.
Right. And dentine is, yes. Students, when you are answering, only that time please unmute yourself. Okay, then please mute yourself. Okay, this creates a lot of disturbance to the class. Okay, thank you. Now, so there is resin, which is a harder substance, and then there is a dentine part. Now, as you can see, the dentine covers this pulp cavity, this pulp part. This is a pulp. Okay, this whole is the pulp part, pulp cavity, or you can say root cavity, right? Now, there are two main cells present in these parts. One is odontoblast. Another one is amyloblast.
Ma'am, where it is present?
It is present in the pulp cavity itself. Actually, pulp cavity consists of blood vessels and nerve vessels. These, when we are talking about the blast, you are talking about these odontoblasts and amyloblast, right? They are talking about these two cells. These two cells are amyloblast, they form enamel, and odontoblast, they form dentine. So they are present in these part itself. Yes, Sanjay. Wait. Just. Yes, Sanjay. Sanjay, you have any doubt? You can ask.
No, ma'am, continue.
Okay, continue. Okay. So, when we are talking about the teeth structure, okay, one part we left with heterodont, right? Wait. We just left one characteristic of teeth.
Heterodont.
Right, heterodont. Nobody reminds me of this. Heterodont, okay. Why we call it heterodont? Hetero means different. As you know, homo is for similar, same thing. Hetero is for different, है ना? So here hetero means different sets of teeth. We have different sets of teeth. We have incisors,
Canines. Premolars. Molars.
Very nice, and molars. Okay. Now incisor is for basically cutting. Canine is for tearing. Premolar and molar are for grinding and crushing the food. Okay. Now, as I told you that 2123 is the dental formula. So the third molar,
Wisdom teeth.
wisdom tooth, is a vestigial organ. What is vestigial organ?
It is not present in present human beings.
Vestigial organ. What is vestigial one?
It does not come for any use.
Yes, vestigial organs are present in our body, but it is of no use. Can you name some?
Appendix, abdominal.
Vermiform appendix.
Very nice, excellent. Vermiform appendix is again a vestigial organ. Okay. So now we see the structure anatomy of teeth, and we can say that it has three parts: crown,
Neck.
and
Root.
Root.
Okay. Now, in these incisor, canine, premolar, and molars, different roots are present. In some, there is one root. In another, there is 2 or 3. Yes, Raj.
Where is wisdom teeth useful?
Sorry. Where is wisdom tooth is? You are not audible, Raj. You can write it in the chat box also, if you want to. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the root part, when we are talking about the molars, okay. So in the upper molar, there are 3 roots. In the lower molars, upper molars means this upper part. The upper molars has 3 roots, lower molars and the upper first premolars. They consist of 2 roots. And the rest of the teeth contain 1 root. Can you name the rest of the teeth?
Incisors, canines.
That's it?
Other premolars.
Which one is the other? The lower ones. The lower premolar and the second upper one. Okay? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Now, in the teeth part, we have studied that there are 2 main. One is the enamel part.
Dentine is the second one.
Right. Which is the hardest substance. Which cell form enamel?
Ameloblast.
Ameloblast. Okay. Let me tell you, when the blast word comes at the end, this means forming cells. Let me give you some example. For example, osteoblast. Can you tell which cells are they? Okay. Wait. When the side is coming in the suffix, the last part, that means cell. When blast comes, that means forming cell. When this classed at the end, this means resorbing cells. Resorbing, or you can say destroying cells. Okay. So for example, osteo word, we used osteo for which part of our body?
Bones.
Excellent. We use it for bones. So osteocytes, they are?
Cells forming bones.
No.
Bone cell.
Bone cell, yes, simple. Similarly, osteoblasts, they are?
Bone forming cell.
Bone forming cells. Similarly, osteoclast.
Bone eating cell.
Bone, right, resorbing or destroying cells. Similarly, another example, just a quick one. From this, you can tell that which cell is forming which cell. For cartilage, we use chondro word, right? So chondrocytes is for cartilage cell. Chondroblast is for cartilage forming cells. Similarly, chondroclast is for cartilage resorbing cells. Got it? Understand?
Yes.
Simple? Okay. So now ameloblast means enamel forming cells. Similarly, there is dentine. Enamel covers the dentine part and dentine is formed by
Odontoblast.
Odontoblast.
Okay, so these are the dentine forming cells. Okay. Now next, what is the next part?
Neck.
Neck. We are talking about digestive system, right?
Pharynx.
Okay, good. Pharynx. What is pharynx? And where it is present?
Common passage through
Neck region.
Now, as you can see in the diagram, is it visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So this is nostril, and air comes through nostrils, and this is oral cavity. Can you tell me that both are meeting at point, right? Air is also coming and food is also coming. So this the common passage for
It
food as well as air is known as pharynx. Okay, the common passage for food as well as for the air is known as pharynx. Now we have divided the pharynx into three parts: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. Nasopharynx, the part of the pharynx which is present at the nasal cavity. Oropharynx, oral cavity, the part of the pharynx which is present at the oral cavity. Laryngopharynx, the part of the pharynx which is present near the larynx. Larynx, you know what is larynx?
Voice box.
Voice box. Excellent. So which is present at the larynx. So we have divided first what is pharynx. It is common passage for food as well as for air. Right. Now we have divided the pharynx into three parts.
Nasopharynx.
Nasopharynx. Nasopharynx is the part which is associated with the nasal cavity. Oropharynx. Oropharynx is the part
Oropharynx.
associated with the oral cavity.
Laryngopharynx.
Laryngopharynx, which is associated with the larynx part. Okay. Now, then we come to, now we are left with,
Esophagus.
first tell me that oral cavity, we are done with the oral cavity, all the parts. Anything we are left with?
Tonsils are left.
Sorry?
Completed, ma'am.
Completed? No, we are not completed.
Tonsils.
Tonsils, right? Very nice, tonsils. Now we left with tonsil part. Okay. First, can you tell me what is tonsils? Can you tell me what is tonsils?
It's a lymphoid organ.
The doctor told you that, or you said that I'm suffering from tonsils. Anyone?
Swelling.
Lymph nodes located.
Sorry?
Tonsils are the
Two lymph nodes.
two lymph nodes are located.
Which nodes? Lymph nodes.
Lymph nodes.
Okay. They are not exactly the lymph nodes, but they are the lymphatic tissues. Okay. So they are the secondary lymphatic organs. They are the lymphatic tissues, and the function, what is the function of tonsil basically? What is the function of tonsils?
Defense mechanism.
Sorry? Little bit louder. Bache. We're
To
not...
trap pathogens, bacteria entering the mouth.
Okay, very nice. To trap them, to trap the antigens, foreign particle or microbes. Okay, to trap them there and then. So tonsils basically, which is a lymphatic tissue, they provide immunity to our body. Okay. So tonsils are nothing but they are lymphatic tissues. They are providing the immunity, right? Now tonsils are also of 4 types. Okay. First is pharyngeal tonsils. Second one is the tubal tonsils. Third one is the lingual tonsils. And the fourth one is the
Palatine Tonsils.
very nice, excellent, good. Okay. The pharynx part, let me show you in the diagram. Okay. Now, as you can see in the diagram, this is the pharynx part, right? This is the pharynx part. So this whole is the pharynx part. Sorry, this whole is the pharynx part. So, which is present in the pharynx part. That tonsils is known as pharyngeal tonsils. So, this is pharyngeal tonsils. This is tubal tonsils. Now, tubal tonsils are present. Basically, it surrounds the eustachian tube. Okay, eustachian tube is what?
Connecting ear and pharynx.
Sorry.
Connects the inner ear with
Very
the
right.
Middle ear
last
with the
Right,
pharynx.
middle ears. Okay, the tube which is coming from the middle ear. So it surrounds the eustachian tube. Palatine tonsil. It is. Would you please mute yourself? If you're answering, then only please unmute yourself. Okay. Palatine tonsils is which is present at the palatine area, and lingual is, as you can see, it is present this lingual tonsils. Okay, palatine tonsils. This you can see in the mirror itself clearly. Okay, and this is the pharyngeal part, pharyngeal tonsils. Okay, so when this palatine tonsil is swollen, get infected, inflammation of tonsils. This is the most common one. You have seen it. Redness occurs in this palatine tonsils. You can clearly see in the mirror itself that when the infection or inflammation of palatine tonsil occurs, we called it tonsillitis. Now again, let me tell you, when the itis word comes at the end, that means it is the inflammation. It is the redness, painful, that inflammation word is used. Okay. So tonsillitis is used when the inflammation of tonsils occur. And this pharyngeal tonsils, have you heard in the small children's adenoids? Have you heard this term, adenoids? In children's generally, this pharyngeal tonsils get swollen, enlarged, and we call it adenoids. Okay. These are seen in small children mainly. So the pharyngeal tonsils, so in children, they get enlarged and we call them
Adenoids.
right. Whereas the palatine tonsil, when it gets inflamed, when you have a sore throat or when you have pain, you know, at the side of your neck, this area, that means, and when you see in the mirror, so this is clearly visible, the redness in the swollen part in the palatine tonsils, and that is known as inflammation of the tonsil. That is tonsillitis. Okay, and the person who's getting again and again infection in the tonsils, doctor suggests to surgically remove the tonsil part. Okay, so when again and again infection or inflammation of tonsil again tonsils occurs, so at such cases, doctors suggest for the surgical removal of the tonsil, palatine tonsils. Okay, and this term is known as tonsillectomy. This term, lectomy, when it occurs at the last, that means the surgery of that part. Okay. Got it? Is it
Yes.
clear now? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now, see this diagram very carefully now. Can you tell me when you match all the tonsils together, when you draw a line and keep matching all the tonsils together, what shape you get?
Ring shape.
Sorry?
U shape.
Ring.
Ring shape. Very nice. Ring
Ring
shape.
shape.
Then I
When
just
ring.
imaginary, I just draw a line and connected all the tonsils together. I get a ring shape structure. Now, such ring is known as Wildier's ring. So, what is Wildier's ring? It is nothing but the tonsils which is present in a ring structure. Okay. So, Wildier's ring is all the tonsils which are present in the ring manner, in the ring structure. Okay. So, we call them Wildier's ring. Okay. Now we move to next. What we are left with the mouth, oral.
Stomach.
What? Stomach.
Salivary gland.
Excellent. Salivary gland. Okay. Now salivary gland. Why salivary gland is important?
Because
What's
it
the
provides
function of-
enzyme for digestions.
Okay, it secretes enzyme for the digestion. Excellent. And
Digestion of carbs.
digestion of carbs. Okay, and
It also kills
Lubricate the
bacteria and
food.
protect.
very nice. Good. It also helps in lubrication of the food. For example, I told you that in the dinner you have to eat pizza. Then from evening onwards, in your mouth saliva gets secreted. Right? And if your mother say today we have cooked, dal and green vegetable, then hardly any saliva will be secreted. And it is very difficult for you to eat the dinner. So why saliva is very important? Because it helps to make the food wet. It helps to lubricate the food so that it can be easily chewable and swollen. Okay. So now it has one more function. Saliva has one more function. Apart from these two, it has one more function. Can anyone tell me?
Kills bacteria.
Kills bacteria.
Excellent. Very nice. Good. It is antibacterial, antimicrobial agent.
Mouth, buccal cavity.
Yes, Sanjay? What do you want to say? Anything? Any doubt?
Nothing.
Physiological barrier.
Physiological barrier, okay. Physiological barrier, we are not doing human health chapter here. Why we call it physiological barrier? Because it consists of an enzyme which is known as lysozyme, which is an antibacterial agent. So the main purpose of saliva is, it is antibacterial. When you are not eating or drinking anything, try to recall the time when you are very hungry, you are very thirsty, right? And your mouth starts stinking. Why? Because at that time, no saliva is there. And in your mouth, germs are building up. Okay, germs are growing up inside your mouth. So saliva is very important for your mouth hygiene also. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. So salivary gland, it secretes saliva. Okay. Now, first of all, there are 3 pairs of salivary gland. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands. Can you name them?
Submaxillary salivary gland.
submaxillary, right?
Sublingual.
Sublingual.
Lingual, and third one,
Parotid.
very nice, parotid.
Parotid.
Parotid glands, submaxillary,
Sublingual.
and submaxillary,
Submandible.
also known as submandible. Okay, it is one of the same thing. And
Lingual.
sublingual.
Lingual.
Okay. Now, parotid glands. Okay, out of these three glands, three pairs of glands, which one is the largest one?
Parotid glands.
Parotid.
Very nice. Parotid is the largest one. Okay. Now, can you tell me that salivary gland is the endocrine or the exocrine one?
Endocrine.
Endocrine.
Exocrine, madam.
Exocrine.
Exocrine. Why? Because endocrine are the ductless and they secrete hormones, whereas exocrine are the duct glands. They consist of ducts and they releases or secrete enzymes. So salivary gland consists of enzyme. They release saliva which consists of enzyme. And they do have ducts. So they are exocrine glands, not endocrine. Okay. Now, I told you that three pair of glands and I told you that they have a duct. So in the exam, question may be asked that name the duct of the parotid glands. So the duct of the parotid gland is Tenson's duct. The submaxillary gland, the duct of submaxillary gland, can anyone tell?
Wattens.
Wharton's gland, right. Sorry, Watson duct, I'm so sorry. And sublingual gland?
Ravenous.
Ravenous. Okay, so all these are the ducts. When parotid gland get infected with the
Duct. Lingual gland.
sorry,
Mixo.
Duct of sublingual gland.
duct of sublingual gland is duct of Ravenous.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it is duct of Ravenous.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now, where were we?
Inflammation of parotid glands.
Right, inflammation of parotid glands. Okay. So when parotid gland inflamed
Mumps.
or mumps, very nice. It is known as mumps. Okay.
Myxovirus.
Sorry,
It is caused by myxovirus.
it is caused by paramyxovirus. Okay, it is a virus, right? Now, what are the constituent of saliva?
Water.
Okay, it consists of water, it consists of electrolytes, it consists of enzyme which is known as salivary amylase,
Alpha amylase.
right? Alpha amylase, or we can say ptyalin. Ptyalin is or salivary amylase or alpha amylase, anything you can say. Now, salivary amylase help in the digestion of
Starch.
starch, right?
30% the starch.
Right. Then there is lysozyme. Lysozyme, as you told us, that it is right. It is antibacterial. Then there is mucin, which is mucus itself, which help in the lubrication of food. Then there is carbonic acid, H2CO3. Then there is NaHCO3, which is sodium bicarbonate. They maintain the pH. They help in maintaining the pH. What is the pH of saliva?
6.8.
Okay, 6.5 to 6.8. Anything. Both are correct. So it is slightly acidic.
Bitter. Bitter.
Acidic. Acidic. Okay. So that's all for the day, class. Thank you so much. I hope you're able to understand things. Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
When
Bachi.
is the next class, ma'am?
Ma'am,
Bache, you will be informed soon for the next class. Okay.
Will you send message?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
excuse me, ma'am.
Thank you.
I had a doubt.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, Bache.
Thank you,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
how is wisdom tooth a vestigial organ?
Because it doesn't have any function. If it is present or not, it is not act in the function of crushing and grinding part.
Ma'am, but as
This
it
wisdom
is a
tooth,
tooth, so
okay,
it could,
sorry,
ma'am, means it could chew or it could grind the
no,
food as
it is
other
present
teeth
at the
do.
last part of your mouth.
What about weightage?
Okay.
Sorry?
Weightage for this chapter.
Okay, weightage for this chapter. It is has a very high weightage. Or the physiological chapter has an equal weightage actually.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, so it is present at the last part of your mouth, and it comes at the age of 21. Okay, till then you are able to chew very well. There's nothing like when wisdom tooth is present or not. Okay, after wisdom tooth come, or in some person it come even after 25 itself. So it doesn't make any difference.
All right, ma'am. Thank
It
you.
comes at the later part of the age, and it doesn't help in crushing and all. Okay, so that's all for the day. Thank you, class.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have a doubt.
Yes.
I read that human teeth are called bunodont. What does bunodont mean, ma'am?
Bunodont.
Hmm.
Bunodont is nothing but it's a type of teeth. Okay, it's a molar, crown of molar teeth, we call it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, anything else?
What is trypsin?
What is trypsin?
Yeah.
Trypsin is an enzyme of pancreatic enzyme. We will study this in the next class. Till now we didn't study about this pancreas.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Dextrin?
Sorry?
Dextrin.
Dextrin.
Yeah.
Dextrin.
Yeah.
Dixtrin.
Yes.
Dextrin is a carbohydrate produced that hydrolysis of starch basically. It's a group of carbs. It's a group
Okay.
of carbohydrate. Okay.
Okay.
It's produced basically by the hydrolysis of starch.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else?
Ma'am, in milk dentition 2102 by 2102, that 0 indicates molar or premolar?
Premolar. Incisor, canine, premolar, and molars. So there is no premolars in the
Okay.
beginning. Okay. Anything else?
Function of palate.
Sorry?
Is there any function about palate?
Palate is the roof.
Okay, ma'am.
Is a roof. Similarly, there is floor of the oral cavity. There is a roof of the oral cavity. So this whole make a system, enclosed part system.
Ma'am, in dental cavity, what does the 3 represent?
In the dental cavity,
What does the 3 represent?
what is the
3 represent 3.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
Molars.
Dental cavity or dental formula. What is 3 represent? 2, 1, 2, 3. You are
Yes,
asking.
ma'am.
3 is the molar.
2?
3 is the molar.
2, ma'am.
Sorry?
Ma'am, what does the 2 represent?
This one. What's it? 2, 1, 2, 3. Wait. Okay. 2 is incisors, 1 is canine, 2 is premolar, and 3 is molar.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, this is the ideal one. This way only we write, whether it's milk or whether it's permanent one.
Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, class.
Mm.